Hey guys, peace and blessings. This is Walil Archer from the Real RAPP Radio Show on Downtown Hott Radio. I'm here live with my special guest, Roc-Well La Don. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure, my pleasure. So we're going to talk about your up and coming album about to come out. So let's talk about it.
Let's get at it, man.
Let everybody let everybody know the name of the album that's coming out.
The name of the album is Loyalty and Betrayal. You know what I mean? And it's based off a lot of real events and stuff like that. So I think it's good for hip hop today because all the stuff been going on and things like that. So I think a lot of people will be able to relate to the album. You know what I mean? So
Okay, how many songs are you going to put on the album?
18. I was gonna go for
18?
19. I was gonna go for 19, but I said I ain't gonna push it. I want to, you know what I mean? But we
And
leave it
off the
as
album, and off the album, what's going to be your top three that you're going to promote the most?
the ones that I like. It's hard when artists say I don't like some of my songs, but the ones that I like is actually "Don't Come For Me." There's a song called "Don't Come For Me." There's a song called um, "Forget Love." I'm not gonna say the curse word, but "Forget Love." And then there's one called "Do You Think About Us." That is my favorite one because the tune is like a R&B hip hop song, and it has a mellow beat that's kind of similar to "In Between the Sheets," Ozzy Brother. So once I hear the beat, I'm going. You know what I mean? It's just I'm dancing every day, man. I don't care where I'm at. So that's the type of song, that's the type of vibe you get from that song, and I feel like the world would be able to relate to that song the same way I do. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay, and the first one you said was "Don't Come For Us."
Don't Come For Me.
Don't Come For Me. Okay.
Yeah, that's street. It's a street song. You know what I mean? gotta have your little street edge in there. So, you know,
And tell us a little bit about it. How did you come up with that title and what is it about the song?
which one? Don't Come For Me.
Don't Come For Me.
Don't Come For Me is actually it comes from a lot of, like I said, a lot of the stuff that's going on today, and people catching these RICO cases and stuff like that. And it's not a song towards police or nothing like that, but the song is talking about cricket police. You know what I mean? Like it's not a song about I hate the police or nothing like that, but we dislike cricket police. People who are just not doing the right thing when they got positions like that. So I'm basically talking about things like that in that song. You know what I mean?
Okay.
In particular, cases like Young Thug and stuff like that. And we've seen a lot of it go on, not just Young Thug cases and stuff like that, but a lot of it went on. And I'm not just speaking on the Black community. This is for everybody who go through things like this. You know what I mean? So the song is saying, "Don't come for me," because today, I'm gonna say there's ways around getting those people took out of their positions. Back in the day, man, it'd have been 10 times harder. Today, we have a lot of things going on where the community actually has some kind of power that we can get these people out of these positions. You know what I mean? So that's what it's about for real.
Okay. And then tell us about that second song.
The second one was "Fuck Love." Excuse my language. But that song actually came from me growing up in the streets and just going through a lot of things I went through and finding out the hard way about loyalty. Trusting everybody and thinking everybody's your friend and things like that. And I got played a lot in the streets coming up, and I had to learn the hard way. So that's where that song came from. You know what I mean? So a lot of the stuff is based off of what I went through from back then and now.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
And you mentioned the street a couple of times. So how challenging is it doing music in Chicago?
you know what? Chicago scene right now is totally different from what I'm on. I'm still on the '90s Chicago music today. I know that may, shock a couple people now because they like, well, what about today? Now, the thing with music today is I'm on a different time zone. You know what I mean? A lot of people are doing drill and things like that. And that's not my kind of thing. You know what I mean? I like to get people dancing. You know what I mean? That's the kind of vibe I want to bring. I don't want to have people picking up guns to go, do crazy things and stuff like that. And people blaming things on my music. We ain't going to have that. You know what I mean? So I want to bring a good feeling to hip hop and, and leave like that. You know what I mean? I don't want to do none of the beefing or none of that. I'm like the LL Cool J type of vibe. You know what I mean? Like, you know how it was back in the day. You may do a little beef song back and forth, but it won't turn to violence. So that's the kind of thing I'm on. Like I'm on a push piece and things like that. You know what I mean? So
That's funny because that's actually, excuse me, that's my genre of music. A
yeah,
lot of times when people come out with the new music, it's like it's
yeah,
not feel good music.
yeah. And I kind of try to stay up to date. You know what I mean? I don't want people to think I'm living in the past or nothing like that. Like he's stuck in the '90s. And I try to explain to people it's not that. Is that music lives forever. So you want to be able to dance forever. You know what I mean? You don't want things to change to where you gotta say all music is violent now. Like no, we still actually have some good artists that's coming out with music that's gonna make you dance. Cause see, we footwork in Chicago. That ain't gonna never stop. You know what I mean? So I come from that era where um, dancing was the thing back in the day. You know what I mean? We love house music in Chicago. So dancing was the thing. We can be cleaning up the house, listen to some house music. Like, that was the vibe in Chicago. Especially, I'm from out west. So out west, we'd turn the fire hydrant, we'd bust the fire hydrants open. In the summertime, everybody getting wet, we're playing house music. Somebody got a speaker in the window or at the door, we listen to the music. Till the police come turn the water off. But that's how it was, and that's how I grew up, and I'm still on that time zone to where I like to feel good when I'm listening to music. You know what I mean? So, but not putting anybody down
Right,
or
right.
saying nobody music is. You know what I mean? It's like I love music, period, and everybody is different. So like I said, I love everybody. That's my vibe. You know.
With that being said, how is the vibe in Chicago as far as the clubs? Are they doing the sections where everybody just pretty much sitting down and drinking in their own clusters of people, or is it still vibrant and party scene?
Chicago is still Chicago. I'm gonna say the club scenes are a lot better. I'm gonna say a lot better now. You know what I mean? You got a lot more. Like Chicago's a very cultural city, so you got a lot more people vibing together now than it was back then. Back then it was so segregated. You know what I mean? It was like you'll go to a club and you'll see only that race in that club. Now you go to a club, you see all kind of races in the club. And, and that's what I love to see. You know what I mean? I love being around people that feel the same way I do. Like the world should always be filled with love instead of hate. You know what I mean? And when I see a club like that, it's mixed full of, different people, I'm vibing. You know what I mean? That's the kind of club I
Right.
want to be in. So that's what I love. And like I said, the album is hopefully to put some kind of peace because hip hop has been through a lot. You know what I mean? Sorry about that phone call. Hip hop has been through a lot, and I feel like it just needs a little bit more pickup now to get people back dancing. Put down these guns because, like I said, Chicago is a wild city. I've seen a lot, been through a lot, heard a lot, and I'm to a point where I just don't even want to see it or hear it anymore. I want to get people back dancing and making love, make some babies. I don't care what to do. Just put the guns down. That's what I'm on. You know what I mean? So
Talk to me about your journey. How did you actually get started with music?
that's a funny story. um, I grew up around a lot of musicians. You know what I mean? There was a group called the Rude Boys. I don't know if you remember them.
Yeah, I do.
The
I remember the
song
name. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Written All Over Your Face.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the members there, Buddy, very good friend of mine. You know what I mean? He taught me a lot. You know, rest in peace. And that was a bad boy. You know what I mean? He was good on every instrument you think of. He played them. And I would sit there and watch him, and he'll listen to me sing sometimes, and I'll sit there and watch him play all the instruments. And he started, you know, we was at one point in time in the same choir. He was actually in the same church as me and stuff like that. So being around those kind of cats, you know, and I can't forget MC Surge. You know, remember him? I met him actually in Atlanta, downtown Atlanta. You know what I mean? Dope MC. A lot of people sleep on him, man. He was a dope MC. I met him in Atlanta a long time ago. So growing up back then, hip hop was more, I'm gonna say, hands on it. You know what I mean? Because people was really, you know, dancing and moving around and you know, things like that. Like now is more on the internet. You know what I mean? So coming up back then was more easier for me to adapt to it. You know what I mean? Especially in Chicago area because back in the day you had people like Al B. Shore coming out and things like that. So it was music that make you feel good. And that's how I adapted to it. You know what I mean? And ever since then I've been making beats and beating on walls and stuff like that. So it was just in me. You know what I mean? So that's where it came from. And then it just took off from there, you know what I mean? And
So,
actually, oh, go ahead.
no, you're fine. You're fine.
I was gonna say actually, like I said, the things I say is not to put anybody down, but a lot of people don't write their own music, and I'm one of those ones. I started out writing my own music when I was 12 years old. I started, you know what I mean? And I'll show you here, like you know, the proof. I don't know if you can see that.
Mm-hmm.
It's international poetry contest. Is like, man, I was in it. I was doing anything about writing. I was in it. You know what I mean? So I got contracts here on the wall. I never turned in. I just signed them because I wanted them to be. I wanted them to be like souvenirs. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you know things like that. I always been into music. You know, and so I'm in one of my little labs. I'm kind of showing you here. You know what I mean? So this is like hands on for me. I'm always here, doing something. I don't care what city I'm in. Like right now, I'm in Kentucky.
Okay.
Yeah, so and I'll be in Chicago next week, but I'm always in the studio around music. You know what I mean? So that's just me. I don't care what I'm doing. I gotta hear some music. And you know what? I encourage people too that music gets you through a lot of things. It keeps you out of trouble. We gotta listen to the right music. Yeah, you know what I mean? It keeps you out of trouble and you know what I mean? It just keeps you at peace. Like me, I'm still a Luther Vandross and Anita Baker type of person. Sade. This is the music I listen to. I don't listen to rap like that every day. I know I write it, but during my days, I'm listening to mellow music. You know what I mean? So that's how I vibe for it.
Talk to me about being an independent artist. What's some of the challenges you face?
That is the hardest thing in the world, man. You know what I mean? It's the best thing, but it's the hardest thing. And what I mean by that is you're doing everything on your own. You're doing the writing, you're doing the engineering, you're doing the publishing, you're doing everything on your own. That is, if you're not rich, it's 30 times hard. You know what I mean? You don't have money to just go buy keyboards when something break down like that. So it's very, very hard. Everything is out of your pocket. Versus being with a higher label that can do all these things for you. But also take that money back from you once you reach the top. You see what I mean? So when you are successful being independent, the money stays with you. And that's, you know, I try to encourage people to understand what I'm saying about that. You know what I mean? But, you know, to each his own. Some people just like, they don't have those skills to perfect a beat in the studio or anything like that.
Right.
So everybody's not the same. So you know what I mean. I'm very blessed to be able to do everything on my own.
And how is it when you go into the studio? Do you write and then go into the studio? Are you writing while you at the studio, or do you go off the top of your head?
Man, I could be at a pool and a song will come to my head. I'll go grab a napkin and get to writing a song on it. And then if I'm in a party, I'm like, hey, I'll be back in 10 minutes. I'll go somewhere and pre-record what I just did. Later on that day, go to the studio and drop it. I'll make a beat right there on the spot. Yeah.
So you kind of always ready to go, kind of work in
Yeah.
work mode.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I'm always ready because you never know what's going to happen. Tomorrow's not promised to anybody, you know what I mean? And the way people are dropping, man, it scares me to death because I'm like, um, I've been dealing with hip hop for this long, and I don't have music out for people to say, who is Roc-Well La Don? Where did he come from? You know what I mean? And that's what I'm doing today. And I know some people might be like, hey, it's a little too late. It's never too late to create music. Like I said, music lives forever. So it's never too late to create any. I don't care what genre it is. It's never too late to create music. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's either now or never. You know, I've been playing too long in the streets, been sitting down and saying, hey, I'll do it tomorrow and putting everything off and partying. Nah, it's time to do something. You know what I mean? Like I said, tomorrow ain't promised. So
And how did you come up with your name, Roc-Well La Don?
now that name, that's very interesting. That came from the streets too. Now, I used to gang bang and things, you know, be with all the local gangs and stuff like that. And I've always been a leader type. Even when I was under people, always been that. I always carried that leader attitude. You know what I mean? And they would even tell me. And you know, they'll tell you like, man, I feel like you should be here or you should be up here, like because you don't act like the rest of these knuckleheads. You know what I mean? You got a little bit more mature. You know what I mean? And I was 13, uh, hanging with all older cats that was like 45 and 38 and stuff like that. None of my friends was my age ever. You know what I mean? I was always the youngest guy out of 100 dudes. So the name came from when they started calling me king and stuff like that. I said, I need to branch off and just be my own king. You know what I mean? And place only God above me. So the word Don came from king. You know what I mean? Just another word for king. You know what I mean? Not trying to throw nobody off like that. But Chicago is based off a lot of mafia stories. So that's another part where it came from. You know what I mean? And everybody in Chicago refer to themselves as kings and stuff like that. I say Don. You know what I mean? So
Right.
yeah, so the love is Spanish for duh. You know what I mean? And Roc-Well is actually the part where um, I would say it's like a self-inspirational thing. Whenever you say Roc-Well, you telling me to go do my thing. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So when you say Roc-Well La Don, that means I'm gonna go do my thing. You just lifting me up to go do me. And people don't know that yet, but they know now. Whenever you say my name, it's inspirational. That's what it means. So it's just a powerful piece I came up with that, you know what I mean?
Speaking of Don, is the mafia still going strong out there?
You know what? You won't see them. They very, very smart people. You won't see them like you seen back in the day where they were going to take people businesses and stuff like that. No, it ain't nothing. Listen to me, bro. It's nothing like that at all. You know what I mean? These people are very smart. They got a lot of businesses, and you know, a lot of restaurants in Chicago are actually owned by them, the hotels and things like that. But some people, if you come from out of town, you won't know that. You're not looking for stuff like that. You know what I mean? But the people in Chicago, we know the history. We know who's who and stuff like that. They don't bother anybody. We don't bother them. I actually love them. You know what I mean? So, some of the things I do in Chicago is I always like to give back. Like I'll go to Chinatown and just be sitting there, man, like, hey, let me spend some money in Chinatown. We're here. You know, and I go do it with the Italians. You know, I'm always trying to push peace. I don't care where I'm at. You know, I could be in Indonesia somewhere. I'm going to push peace there and I'm going to support. You know what I mean? So hopefully everybody start doing the same and realize we just those type of people. You know what I mean? We like to love. You know, Black people is not people of hate or nothing like that. We like to love anybody. And, you know, I'm the type of person that shows that. So that's what they're going to get from Roc-Well La Don, nothing but love. So I'm going to want to let them know there's no hate coming from here ever.
Nice.
Yeah.
You put any music videos out with your new album that's coming out?
You know, I'm trying to. You know, I never did a music video.
Okay.
I've been on scenes where people are doing them, and I would look like, damn, that's fly. Look how those girls are dancing next to me. You know what I mean? But me, I kind of was never a video person or anything like that. I was always behind the scenes. I was always the, what do you want to call it, the Al Capone type of guy. You know, I was always in the background playing the gangster role. Like, hey, I'll watch the door for you. But I was never really the type that, you know, been in the music videos or dancing or nothing like that. Even though I'm not gonna lie to you, man, I was one of the coldest dancers back then. You know what I mean? It's just nobody would never know that. But but you know, during those times in the 80s and 90s in Chicago, we used to have dance contests and the local DJ would make mixtapes for you and stuff like that, and we would do the parties. Oh man, in Chicago, we would throw down with that dancing. You know what I mean? Stepping, anything, any type of dancing, we were doing it. Just like New York was doing it, we was doing it there too. And now they got the internet thing. So back then there wasn't no internet. So people couldn't see who was doing unless you had video promotion. You know what I mean? But now I'm telling the world what it was really like in Chicago during the 80s. We was really doing it. You know what I mean? And you know, I love the 80s and 90s and stuff like that versus now.
And as we begin to close out, when it comes to writing your music, is there any artists that inspire you?
Michael Jackson is my number one. I can't leave out Prince, even though they had their differences. I can't leave him out either. And then you have people like, what is his name? I'm going back to the old group. Brand Nubian. You know, Nas, back in the day, Nas. You know what I mean? Not saying he's not good now, but Nas back in the day.
Right.
Also Ice Cube. Ice Cube was a great writer. You know what I mean? And I seen that, I was like, dang, these dudes is really very, very talented. And then he write for like 5 or 6 different dudes, man. I was like, that's a cold brother. You know what I mean? So I used to write movie scripts and things like that too. And that was, Ice Cube was my inspiration. He don't know that, but he get to know it. Well, you know, that's a big brother right there.
And before I let you go, any final thoughts or closing remarks?
Man, I just want to say I hope people enjoy the album as much as I do. You know what I mean? And hopefully they support so I can keep going. You know what I mean? And other artists just doing their thing, I'm gonna support them too. Like I said, no matter what music you're doing, I want to hear it.
And let everybody know where they can find you on social media.
www.rockwelladon.com, or there's also Facebook. All you have to do is type in Roc-Well La Don. You're gonna find anything you want. That name, there's not a lot of people with that name. There's some people trying to. I see, and I'm not trying to take shots at anybody. I see them trying to put their name as Roc-Well and trying to spell it like mine a little bit, but mine is just that unique name. That's why I like it the way it is. Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, I'd like to thank you for doing the interview.
Hey man, thank you. I appreciate you having me. It's been a blessing. This is my first interview.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. I've been on radio stations, actually, you know, real radio stations, stuff like that, but never did the video thing. So I appreciate you, man.
My pleasure. Hold on one second. So that's my time today on the Real RAPP Radio Show. And I'll see you guys next time on the Real RAPP Radio Show with Walil Archer on Downtown Hott Radio. Peace and blessings, everyone.